Okay, so energy update, a brief energy update for the next month. There were several themes that I was guided through. So the key themes are: one, being broken open, releasing the struggle, get ready for deep trauma release and deep ancestral wounding surfacing, and step in now to the divine feminine, and do not let fear derail you. So let's go back to being broken open. So I think many of us, especially light workers, sensitives, we've sort of experienced that feeling of feeling broken open. So this is where we're really being called to honor that process, to not fight it, to not resist it. And so I really want you to consider this theme of being broken open and lining that up with the theme of entanglement. So entanglement is when we really want to get out of a situation, when we're trying really hard to change our situation or get out of a situation. Often what happens is the more we try to get out of that situation, the more entangled we become. And that's a trap for ourselves. So be conscious, be aware over the next month, where are you entangled? And we want to release those entanglements. Are you entangled in specific programs, belief systems, relationships? Where are you entangled? And where are you desperately trying to get out of or change? Because the deeper you'll sink in, you'll become more and more trapped. So we really want this feeling of let go, detangle, let go of forcing. Next one, trauma release. So this really came up for me big time over the 30 days. I was gobsmacked at the level of trauma I was being called to heal and move through my physical body. So trauma is going to be coming up big time, and this is going to be deep ancestral trauma from your collective, from the collective and your ancestral line. So this is your ancestral line, the collective, personal karma, but also the consciousness groups you're involved in. One is women. We are women. So we will feel the impact of that. So we're being called to rise up and allow our bodies to be the vehicles for this transformation. So deep cellular purging, allow it to happen. Give yourself the time and space to allow the body to purge and keep shifting and shifting density. So we want this deep trauma to shift and clear, because that's bringing you into the divine feminine energy. And she is going to kick some ass over the next decade. So we need to prepare our physical bodies for the divine feminine, because our bodies aren't vibrationally lined up in frequency for the divine feminine energy to rest in this body and then create through this body. We have to allow that process, and this does not happen overnight. This is a process which calls for more and more self-love. So self-love is the key. So when you're going through deep purging of emotions, of density, you've got to take care of yourself. You've got to start checking in with yourself. What are my needs? What do I need in this moment? What am I being called to give myself? Self-love has got to be the root and the foundation. Otherwise, the divine feminine cannot rise and fulfill her mission and do her work. Her fuel is love. If she is not receiving your love, your heart, she will not step forward. She cannot achieve what she's here to do. So this is where we have to really start to make sure we're impeccable with our self-love now. Absolutely impeccable with our self-love. And that does not mean perfectionism. Quite the opposite. This means when you're on the floor, when you're full of rage, when you feel like you're on fire, when you're full of terror, fear, pain, sadness, what are you going to give yourself in that moment to support yourself? No going externally for it anymore. This is the big test. If you've got attached to going to somebody or something to meet that need, you're going to fall. So this is the resilience that's needed. You have to have your own connection to source love. You have to have your heart wide open, pouring love to your body, to your cells, and you must open the crown chakra, allow source, divinity, higher consciousness to pour into the body. So you must have a stable connection with source. So that means meditation. Meditation is what is going to stabilize your connection. Otherwise, you're always going to be a bit wobbly and off center. And you'll be thrown the challenges to get you in center so that you are stable. So no matter what the storm, no matter how much you'll hit emotionally, mentally, you are not touched. When you're able to do that, all the structures around will break down that are not in alignment with fifth dimension. That's why you need the stability, because you need the stability to face what needs to go from your life. That's not in alignment with truth, your purpose, your mission, fifth dimension. And that's where most people wobble. That's where the fear will kick in. When life starts to take away from you what is not in alignment. So that's why you need to be rooted within the heart. So over the next 6 months, we're going to see much more divine feminine healing happening on the planet. So allow that process, trust that process. So I want to read you something, because as I was in my 30 days, the trauma was unbelievable. And halfway through it, I said to my guys, I want out. Get me out of this. I can't do it. I can't do this. And I knew my guide would say, yes, you can. We're going to walk with you. And I was, oh my God, I really can't. I'd got to about 15, 16 days and it was, I cannot continue. I can't, my physical body does not have the capacity to allow this level of trauma that's being moved through me. And I do not trust myself not to react and to just stand back and allow. It was getting to such an intense state, such a peak. It was, oh my God, I'm going to explode. The anger, the rage, the fire, it was where is this stemming from? Is this my ancestral line? Is this my personal comment? It was, no, this is the divine feminine. And I knew that in my gut. It was, this goes back to World War II. And I was shared a lot of information about the stages humanity moves through as we shift. So the initial stages, we have the event. And those experience the event are often in shock. So they go through the motions. We then have a stage of integration, which can be generations down. Then we have the new birth. And so everything that happened in World War II has not shifted vibrationally yet. This is the work we are now doing. This is why we're thinking, what on earth has hit our physical bodies and what is going on on the planet? Because there is nothing that is not of the divine. That was part of the story. World War II was going to happen. It needed to happen. We needed that breaking open. So that was the breaking open. That was the shock stage. But it's only now it's being integrated, and the pain and the trauma of it is coming out. So it doesn't happen immediately. And we see that with ourselves. We experience something in our lives. And sometimes we go through a whole lifetime, we never really have felt it. It gets passed down generation to generation to generation. And we just hear what we can. And that was massive what happened. That was hugely traumatic. So that could not be shifted by those going through it. They hit the first wave of it, but then there's a ripple effect that goes through the generations. So that's what we're shifting. We don't just come into the planet with our little bodies, with nothing else. We're connected. We're one energy. So we are an extension of what's happened before. And this is our time to really allow that new birth, which will be the positive results from why World War II had to happen. So it's a story playing out. So I want to read you something, because as I was going through that real shifting of the trauma of women, it was very much, I know this energy so well. I've been here lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. And it was very much the divine feminine energy. It was the wise woman energy. It was the woman who knew about the abilities to heal the body, to be able to connect to the divine, to be able to use plants as medicine. So it was, I know her so well. And I know the pain and the suffering that she has gone through because of it, and how she's been shut down. And this is what's really shifting in all women, and over the next decade is going to be shifting. So you will have lots more women drawn to your energy, because you've already started shifting up in frequency, and they will still be in the pain and the fear and the shadow of what happened to women that has not yet been resolved and integrated. As I came out of the 30-day silence, I literally had to shake all the energy off. It was like, oh my God, I've got to really shake all this energy off. And I opened Eckhart Tolle's book. So I just want to read where I opened the page to. over a 300 period, 3 to 5 million women were tortured and killed by the Holy Inquisition. 3 to 5 million women were tortured and killed by the Holy Inquisition, institute founded by the Roman Catholic Church to suppress heresy. This ranks alongside the Holocaust as one of the darkest chapters within human history. It was enough for a woman to show her love for animals, walk alone in fields or woods, to gather medicine plants, to be branded a witch, and therefore be tortured and burnt at the stake. The sacred feminine was declared as demonic. Suppression of the female dimension was reduced to being bearers for men. This is a case of insanity, but who was responsible? So it didn't surprise me I opened it at that page. But 3 to 5 million women shocked me completely. It was, whoa, now I understand the experience I've just walked through. And the level of transformation that's happening on the planet right now. Energy is energy. Energy does not change until it's transformed, until it's felt, allowed, move through. So what happened to that energy? It got suppressed, creating more and more cancer, disease, abuse, rape, suffering on this planet. That's why we have all that. Those are the symptoms. The only way out is through healing. And this is why there's so many healers now, coaches, therapists on the planet. Because we know this is why we're here. We're here to walk our own bodies through the fire. And know this time we are safe to claim ourselves as a creation of the divine and not be afraid of our power. So you will all be called to step up to your next level. As the energies are getting faster and faster. So wherever you are now, we're on this wave together. We're all going to feel ourselves pushed up to being brighter. And that's where fear can derail you. So I was taken through that for about 5-6 days. The level of fear. And it was intense. It was intense, but we cannot let fear stop us. So when you feel the fear, because at some point you'll be right on the bridge. And when you feel the fear of the divine feminine, you'll know it's the divine feminine. It's not like normal fear. It's a completely different energy. I've known nothing like it, nothing like it. But it was the kind of fear that you would expect for a woman to be burned for who she was, that level of intensity. And this is what you've been trained for. And you've all had your training for this. You've been trained to move through the fear that will come as life moves you to your next level. And so it's really important to be surrounded by women, and women that get this and understand this. Because that fear can consume you. And so that level of fear, and the kind of fear we're talking about that needs to shift through the feminine, needs to be handled very delicately. It's a huge trauma. It's a huge trauma in the female collective. It's a massive trauma. And that needs so much presence. So your ability to be present and pay attention and be in the now is crucial. So this is why your rituals are so important. So you must have a consistency. You must have a regular practice. Because as that vibration gets faster and faster and faster and faster and faster, you're going with it. And if you're going with it, that will come out of you. And you need to experience that so that you can help those that get stuck on the bridge and are too afraid to cross over or think they cannot master their mind to stay present with the body. Because it's not you that's in fear and terror, your body is. Your body will have a cellular memory of the past. So your body is likely to go through quite intense, deep purging as it shakes out of the cellular memory. I had to allow myself 3 days to just lie and be really still when my body shook violently. And I had to completely surrender and allow the violent shaking of my body so this energy could be released from me. Because the more fear you transform and clear, the more love comes into this world. And you will only be given what you can handle. And even if you don't think you can handle it, you can. And you will. But the beauty, as you move through the intensity, is you feel your God presence, which is the gift. And remember, it's your being that heals everything around you. And I felt when I came out of the 30 days, especially from that purging and the intensity of it, the shaking had finally stopped and surrendered. There was such a light energy and such a pure energy of divine feminine love that I have never felt before. And it was so soft yet so powerful. And I knew for the rest of the meditation I could just sit And I did not need to take any action or do anything to impact this world. My vibration was going out all around me effortlessly. And this is the energy of the divine feminine. The yang energy you've been using will not work. Will not work. And the more you shift and clear and release trauma, the more you try and do the way you used to, with the yang, the push, the striving, or the, oh, what should I be doing? I should be doing something. What's next? It's not going to work. It's not going to work. The key is faith. So you will be tested with faith, building faith and having faith and being able to put everything in the hands of the divine and understand everything that shows up in your life and on the planet is part of the divine game. No matter how it looks. So you'll be breaking down judgment. And as you're forced into faith, you will then steer into the divine feminine and allow things to come to you, or you'll feel the intuitive nudges much more deeper, much more strongly. Your soul will be fully embodied. So with this trauma that we're carrying from our ancestral line, our soul can't fully incarnate in the physical body. If the soul isn't fully incarnated in the physical body, you're using your will, your ego, which again is third dimension, which will all fall away. So the fifth dimension is flow, it's ease, things coming to you, you being in play mode,